Hi, everybody. It's Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live, number 175. It's hard to believe. They just add up week after week after week. So, how many weeks is this? 175 of them. So, it's, I guess, well over 2 years, right? And maybe three. Somebody figured that out for me. Math is not my strength. How are you? It is a blustery, windy day. We're expecting rain in Salt Lake City, Utah, with rain and snow tonight, dropping down to about 5,500 feet sea level, and maybe a little bit of snow in the front yard down to about 4,500 feet, which is my elevation. And so I always like to give out the forecast. I know everybody from all over the world is in a different situation, but I'm always curious about what the weather is like where you live. Okay, so today we are talking about online singing lessons, and in particular, Singers Impact, which is my private site, my membership site, and I want to share information about it. I want to open this up to questions and answers. I'll probably take you behind the scenes a little bit to show you a little bit about what's inside it and answer the question, what is Singers Impact and why it works? So let me just see if I've got some. Hey, we got Shaforan. Shaforan. Hey, nice to have you here today. Robin, hi. Great. Raining in southern Illinois. Oh, okay. Is it cold too, Robin? It's kind of probably one of those springtime rains, I'm guessing. Angela. Hi, Angela. Hey, nice to have you here, Angela. I think you have just joined Singers Impact, if I remember right. So great to have you here. And Isabel. Hi. Cold in Kildare, Ireland. Oh, does the wind blow out there, Isabel? Robin says 40s in Illinois. Rainy in Kentucky. Wow, everybody's got rain. I guess it's springtime, right? Santiago, hey, nice to have you here. Dutch up in here. Bricks, hi, Bricks. Bricks Marino. Finally, you're on time, Bricks. Stella, hi. Just discovered your videos last night. Stayed up till 5 a.m. Holy mackerel! Wow. Were you like watching videos till 5 a.m.? That's really, Stella? So you're probably tired of looking at me and listening to me. Oh, that's cool. That is awesome. Well, great, Stella. I guess they call that, what is that called when you're watching video after video after video? I've done that before myself. Okay, are you answering some viewers' questions today also? You bet. So let me get through some of this, the topic today, which is the online singing lessons. We live in a different society than well, actually right now, online singing lessons, everything is online, right? Schoolwork is online because of this coronavirus. Our schools are closed down here in our area, so our students are home. Everything's closed. Everybody's working from home. You're not supposed to go out. If you go out, you stay 6 to 10 feet apart from each other. So yeah, a video marathon for sure. A binge, yeah, that's it, Stella. Binge watching. I've done that before. Well, I hope you got a little bit of sleep last night. Then it wasn't a nightmare. You didn't see me, and it is a nightmare in your dreams. Great. So, Stella, maybe you've got some questions for me too. So, Singers Impact. Let me just. Santiago says, "Hey, man, I got a question for you. By the way, your tips work." Great, Santiago. Thanks. How do you create a mixed voice? Because I pull up my chest voice, and how does mixed voice sound like? And could you belt in mix? All right. So, Santiago, I'm going to come back to your question because there's a lot of stuff there to cover. Let me just say this. Let's suppose that you didn't have me to ask this question. What do you do when you're trying to learn to sing online? when I was getting started with this technique, there was no online. This is 23 years ago. There was no internet. There was no, were there videos? There was video, but there wasn't digital video. So you couldn't just like take a picture or a video and then like send it someplace. At least not the technology that we have today. And so for me, I had about 2.5 years where I had no teacher. I was listening to CDs, or listening, not CDs, I was listening to cassette tapes as I was driving. I'd get in the car, and as soon as I went to work, and I would travel like at least an hour one way and an hour back. So I had a lot of listening time. Did a lot of singing in the car with just listening to to cassette tapes. Cassette tapes are little miniature things that are like tape, and they would roll like this if you don't know what they are. And so, but we live in a different place now. And so many of us are wanting just to be able to have that resource online so that whenever we want to, we can go online and not only listen to audio, but watch video and listen and watch to demonstrations. And so that's what's going on in today, right? Everybody's home because of this virus. So in a way, online learning is becoming more mainstream all the time. And so there's particular challenges by trying to learn to sing online and trying to learn how to, to watch a video and then learn how to do it in your own voice. I'm going to address that today. Cassette tapes, you know what they are, Angela, huh? Okay. Yes, I think they have them in museums and things with people like me telling the story of the cassette tape. Anyway, okay, so you guys, let me just jump right to, I'm going to give you just a little bit of a tour, and let's talk about, number one, what is Singers Impact? Some of you have just joined Singers Impact. So thank you for being here today, and I'm happy to take any questions you might have. Now, as you know, maybe you've already gotten this, Angela, but we're meeting tomorrow in the green room a little bit earlier than this, but tomorrow around noon Eastern Daylight Time. And so if you've got some questions, you can ask me those tomorrow too, Angela, if you can join us. All right, so what is Singers Impact? I'm going to pop this right online here, okay? So let me try this. I'm going to disappear, but you're going to see me. You're going to hear me and see my image here. So if there's an issue, I'll check my comments, but here we go right now. Okay, so this is what the home screen looks like for Singers Impact. So there's a welcome video, an explanation of how to get around and so forth. But if we were to click on start here, there is something I'm calling the Singers Impact Success Path, and this is just a visual explanation of this pathway that we all are trying to be on, or we're all following as singers, and so I'm starting at the bottom here with the black round sphere. Sing higher is stage 1. So these are 4 different stages. Stage 1 is sing higher. Stage 2 is sing better. Stage 3 is sing songs. And stage 4 is singing mastery. So in each, and I'm trying to, when I first did this a couple years ago, I had like 13 steps, and that was ridiculous. So this is a simplified visual approach to knowing where you're at in the learning process. So if within those stages, let me just give you a quick little look here. If I go to these are the different, I'll tell you about these in a second, but if we go to the 4 stages, that brings up, see, I got to click this page here. That brings up these different, well, here they are again, the 4 stages. But I click on the 4 stages. Here's stage 1. And within stage 1, there are 2 courses right now. There'll be more added, but right now, this course number 1 takes you through fundamentals. And the fundamentals, in this case, the fundamentals, what I've done is I've gone through and selected out of like 400 videos of my YouTube channel, and I've organized them in logical order. And first thing we're going to cover is the vocal type, and then exercises for your vocal type. And then we're going to talk about vocal chords, chest voice, mixed voice, head voice, falsetto, vibrato. And anyway, it goes all the way down through the basic fundamentals of singing. This is going to do a couple things for us. We're all going to be on the same page. We're going to have the same verbiage. We're going to have the same kind of background. So that's just a quick sketch of the first course in fundamentals. Then there's a second course, Sing Higher Than Ever Before. The fundamental basis for everything that I teach is teaching you the ability to move from your low voice, from your chest voice, to your into your head voice. Too many of us are locked into the bottom, and so we're going to be focused on the vocal bridge in this course and how to get from the bottom to the top without flipping, cracking, breaking, straining, and going into falsetto or going into falsetto. So that is the there's the first 2 courses inside the stage 1 of Sing Higher. So and so forth. So that's the idea behind this whole. Let me bring myself back here for a second as we talk. So that's the concept behind inside Singer's Impact. In each of these stages, there are singing courses, and they're designed to start more at the beginning. Even if you're an experienced singer, most of my students are experienced singers, and most of my students have problems getting from the bottom to the top. And I would say about 90% of my students struggle with the transition from chest to head voice. That's what happens. It cracks or it breaks, or we pull up the bottom, we pull up the chest voice, and lots of bad things happen. The only way that some people can do it is which is falsetto, which doesn't work on stage. Now maybe it works in some pop, but fundamentally it's a disadvantage to you to be in falsetto, because if you break into falsetto and come back down in the chest, you have to crack back into the chest. So I teach you first and foremost how to get from the bottom through the middle area of your voice and be able to not just get through it, but to sing in that middle. So for a guy, it'd be the E, F sharp, E, F, F sharp, E, F, E. And, before I learned how to do what I'm teaching, I couldn't do that. I had to do E, or A. It just didn't work for me. I would stop at the E above middle C. I wouldn't go any further. It was a disaster. But I learned how, and now I teach you how to and that's all the way through the bridge, my second bridge, into head voice and back down again without any disconnection. So we got to start there, and that's why that's the number 1, sing higher. A lot of good things happen in addition to singing higher. So it's not just about singing higher, but the result is you can, and you can sing higher very well. Okay, so are you getting an idea here? Now let me just say this. When I was doing cassette tapes, one thing that was frustrating to me is I didn't know if I was doing it right. Right? I didn't know if I was doing the exercises right. And the first thing I did after 2.5 years, I'd had 7 minutes of study with this technique, 7 months of study, 7 minutes, 7 months of study with my teacher. Then I was on my own for 2.5 years. The first thing I did, one of the first questions I asked in a live lesson with a teacher who was trained in this technique, who was awesome. I knew he knew what he was talking about. I was singing, or something like that. And I said, what is that? He said, what's what? I said, what am I doing there? Is that head voice or is that falsetto? All this time, all these years, being on my own, I still wasn't positive if I was in falsetto or if I was in head voice. I thought I was in head voice. He said to me, that's your head voice. Well, that helped me immensely. So here's the reason why I'm telling you that story. We just, as singers, we want somebody just to hear us. Am I doing that right? Yes, you're doing it right. Great. So that way you know what to do to keep going. And so in order for me to provide that kind of support to the members of Singers Impact, and this is one reason why it's a top, if not the top, online singing lesson resource, is that I'm going to be providing a lot of student interaction. And here's how I'm going to do it. Are you ready? You ready for me to show this to you? I'm going to go back inside Singers Impact, and I'm just going to give you an overview of what each month is going to look like for members of Singers Impact. And this is a question, by the way, that was asked this week of some of my... Okay, great. Angela's planning on being there. Great, Angela. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. The question was, do we get any one-on-one time with you? Does this Singers Impact? I mean, I know there's 12 hours of courses, over 700 minutes, and but what about like some one-on-one time? And so here's how I'm going to do that. The answer is yes, definitely. Hey Marty, I wanted to get I wanted to see what the weather was like up there, back in the what? Oh, back in the 80s we had mixtapes. Yeah. Did I miss your weather report? You'll have to let me know. Maybe it's here already. I missed it. It's in an upper feed. Marty's up in Canada, you guys, and he always crushes me when we talk about cold weather and snow. Okay, so here I'm going to go back into Inside Singers Impact, you guys, and scroll down, and you saw all these different things. So once a month, this is not an interactive thing, but let me tell you what it is. It's a reaction. I'm going to do react videos. You've seen these online, but last month I did a react video on from Stevie Wonder's song "Signed, Sealed, and Delivered." Sorry, it's maybe a little bit blizzard, a little bit talking about snow. It might be a little blurry to you. I have to, it's hard to get this exactly right on here, but so once a month I'm going to do a reaction video, and it ends up being a video that teaches you how to listen and what you're hearing. A lot of us don't even know what a good singer sounds like. And in the case of Stevie Wonder, the guy is awesome. He studied with Seth Riggs for 40 years or something. He's never had another teacher. For those of you who don't know, when he was like 19, he had vocal surgery. I think Quincy Jones called Seth and said, I'm going to send a young man to you named Stevie Wonder. He just is coming out of surgery. Will you rehabilitate his voice, rehabilitate him, and rehab his vocal cords and so forth? And that's started a lifelong association with Seth Riggs, Stevie Wonder and Seth Riggs. Stevie does an amazing job with mix voice. And so I did reaction video and talked about all the places where he was singing mix. So I do that once a month. That's going to be the first week of the month. Now the rest of the weeks of the month, But here's the thing. Members of Singers Impact, they can suggest videos for me or singers to review, and then that way I can have a personal touch for you if you have someone that you want me to review. Inside in the second month for Singers Impact, we're going to do a student focus. And here's what a student focus is you send me a video of you singing a segment of a song, let's just say the chorus or something, or the bridge, and tell me what you want me to listen for and what you're working on and what you want me to comment on. And I will give you direct feedback on what you're doing with your voice. And I can do that with multiple people once a month during this student focus session. So that's another way that and people can be asking questions about it. They can get clarification. I'll listen to it and give you direct feedback. In week number 3, I do a session called Singers Impact Live. I'll probably change the name of this. I had another teacher suggest today you might call it just, well, she didn't say this to me, but when she said it, I thought that's a good name for this. Checking with Chuck. Checking in with Chuck. So let me show you what this ends up looking like. I bring students right on line with us. You see this section, this image right here? I bring my Singers Impact members right online. There's with Melody. This is with Paul. There's another one here someplace. Where is it? Where I have 3 of us on. Is that the archive? Oh, there it is. Yeah. So this is Paul's kids. Paul's kids got online and started singing. So I had 2 gentlemen here, Stu from Arizona and, oh gosh, I just spaced my friend's name. I beg your pardon. My friend in Australia. We worked on voices. I teach them right there. I work with their voices online in a little singing lesson. And it lasts anywhere from like 10, 15, 20, sometimes up to 30 minutes while other members of Singers Impact are watching. And so this is an amazing personal one-on-one time. Most of the time, it doesn't really take that much time to say, to do a check and say, okay, am I doing this right or not? But we had the time several times to be able to do that kind of interaction. Last week of the month is the green room, which is kind of a simple approach to just communicating with you. And inside, and I did one last month, and here's tomorrow's coming up, and it's scheduled inside Singers Impact. If you were to click on this and enlarge it, it would say, well, you can see this. Maybe you can't. You have it goes live in 19 hours. All right. So that green room interaction is a Q&A, and it's a question and answer. It's here's what we've done this month. Here's what we're going to do next month. Here's some questions that I got. I already have a question that's sent to me by one of our new members of Singers Impact, and I'll address his question tomorrow. And if others submit questions, I'll address their individual question, and we'll have interactive sessions like I'm doing here. Only just be with our members of Singers Impact. So it's a smaller group, and we can address it, and also I can address questions like, for example, my student who sent his question in is not sure he's going to be able to attend, so he sent it to me in an email. All right, so that is a little bit about what Singers Impact is. Why it works is because of the technique that I'm teaching. So we had oh my gosh, who was it? Was it Robin or? Robin had a marathon watching videos. Or Stella. I'm sorry. Who was it? Who watched them all night long? Well, um, I've got courses in here. I show each of, I explain why we're doing a particular exercise. I demonstrate how it's done. I show ways that make it more effective and ways that are doing it wrong. And then I provide the accompaniment for the guys and the girls. And then we get all of that in an MP3 at the end of each of the topics. And so you've got a lot of support there and a lot of explanation as to how to do things correctly so that good things happen in your voice. The exercises that I give you are not warm-ups. The exercises I give you cause your voice to do certain things that cause you to sing correctly. This cause you to stop doing wrong things and start doing right. So it's the exercises, in some cases, yes, they warm your voice up, but they do so much more. And I give you the exercises not randomly, hoping that something's going to work. I give you exercises because I know they cause you to do certain things correctly with your voice. Now, when I began to experience that as a singer, I was blown away. I had no idea that there was such a technique like this that was cause and effect. It would cause certain things, and it would cause the voice to do physically certain things, like keep the larynx down or keep the vocal cords together. That's just two examples that would enable me to get through the bridge, let's say, or stop pulling chest, or not breaking the falsetto, and so forth. And so it's a tremendously powerful technique, and I basically prescribe them for you to help you accomplish the goals of the lesson and the goals of what you want to achieve in your voice. That's why it works. All right. Any questions about Singer's Impact? Let me address those first. Let me go back to here. Let me see if I can find. You guys look like you're having fun here with all these comments. Thank you for your comments. Yeah. Okay. So Bricks, again, nice to have you here on time. Stella's the one that stayed up all night long. Thank you, Stella. I feel like we're very close now. And yes, I'm going to answer some questions here, but let me address any questions about Singer's Impact that you may have, because that's the topic today, and then I'll come back and I'll get onto each one of these. All right, so I don't see anything right now about Singer's Impact. So for those of you who may or may not know, hey, Brandon, there you are. Nice to have you here. Brandon, thank you. Sign up for Singer's Impact. So I did put in the description below, you guys, a link, and it's a link. Gosh, I can't even remember what it's. There's a link that will take you to 2 videos about Singer's Impact and give you an opportunity to join us. Would love to have you come inside Singer's Impact. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and we're gonna get a lot of good things done in your voice. All right, so let me back up and see if I can blast through some answers to some questions here. I like some of these comments here. But let me start with Santiago. Got a question for you, by the way, your tips work. Thanks, Santiago. And the reason why the tips work, and again, this is what's inside Singer's Impact, is because the exercises cause certain right things to happen that cause the wrong things to diminish in your voice and the right things to come forth in your voice. How do you create a mixed voice? So Santiago, I really don't. The idea of creating a mixed voice seems foreign to me, because how do you create your voice? How do you create your voice? Well, you know, the vocal cords come together and the air flow comes up and pushes the vocal cords apart, and they vibrate and release a sound wave, and you get vibration in your throat and your mouth and your head and so forth, and it comes out in sound. That's just talking, and in singing you sustain that. So it's just sustained talking is singing. So I think probably there are some, but there's some principles, and that's what you're asking about. What can you do to cause you to sing in a mix? And is it because you pull up chest voice? So why do you pull up chest? It's probably because there is still some vowel. Depends on where you're at with your training here, but there's a vowel that's going too wide. Let's just say I did this and said, ah. If I open my vowel and spread it, it's going to, I'm going to pull up my chest. Or if I refuse to let the vibration or the resonance shift up into my head, there's not any resonance shifting up into my head. Sorry, it probably blasted the microphone. And so let's address those two things by just changing the vowel. This time I'll say ah, I'll sing ah to ah. I didn't create it. I just changed the vowel, and the rest, it just happened. It happened naturally. Ladies, same thing for you. If you started on the middle C, ah to AH goes to UH. Now, at first, you can do that physically. You could adjust that vowel. Eventually, it just happens that it happens naturally because of the way the sound wave is hitting the soft palate. It just transitions to AH to UH, or some fraction of that. I'm not thinking anything anymore about changing the vowel. But at first, it's a great way to start to feel it. So that's one way you stop pulling chest and start mixing, is by modifying or narrowing the vowel. We narrow the vowel so that it doesn't spread beyond the way we speak. So if I said, oh, that's what a lot of times what happens as you're approaching the bridge. I just have to make sure that the vowel stays pure. Oh, but if I said, oh, so that would be spreading the vowel. So to counteract the spread, narrow it a little bit. Oh, give yourself ooh lips. That's going to narrow the vowel. Now, you don't have to do that forever, but when you first start out, it helps to give yourself, say ooh with your lips, and then say oh on the inside. Oh! It's really hard to pull chest that way if you're strict with that. Oh! You almost have to fight to pull chest if you keep those ooh lips. So there's two ways of how you learn how to do mix. How does mixed voice sound like, and could you belt it in mix? Well, belt is an interesting word. I don't know the definition that you have for belt, but and I don't know if someone can define belt by the sound. But if I said, anyway, I ran out of air and I'm a little scratchy, but you get the idea. So I think your mix can be so strong it sounds like belt. Now, I know people will argue with me because my larynx wasn't as high as some belt is, or the vowel didn't get as wide as some belt vowels go. But yeah, I mean you can get very strong with mixed voice, and there's some discussion of pulling mix higher, which is to continue to keep that same condition and not really allow it to go into a lighter head voice. And that's another topic for another day. Sean said, I don't know why I say Sean, Shaforan says, I have nightmares about mixed voice and the bridge. You know, I understand. I have been there. I gave up on my voice, Shaforan. I just gave up because I thought that I was at the top, that I didn't realize there was another room there, another something that passed through, and that I could still sing up there even. So I totally get you. You're welcome. Let me see here. Yeah, Angela says, I know cassette tapes. We still have a few in the house. Can you play a song? Well, if it's copyrighted, they'll turn this off. They'll turn the live feed off. So I'd have to I'd have to play something. I don't really play, but I mean I could Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Okay, Angela, thanks. I'm glad you're going to be there tomorrow. Can you play Gumo? Nope. Marty, back in the 80s, that's how we made mixed tapes to give to our girlfriends. Yeah. Yeah. I never gave my girlfriend a mixed tape. I'd like to hear more about that, Marty. Okay, Angela says we would record from the radio to the cassette tape. Gotcha. As soon as the song we waited for it to come on the radio, we tell everyone to be quiet and press record. Crazy. Yeah, that's one way to get the music that you could, listen to then, and curse when the DJ talked. Yeah. I like this, you guys. It takes a certain age. Some of you kids don't understand what we're saying here, or cut off the end of the song. Yeah, yeah. I used to, when I first heard "Take You There" or "Get You There" or something like that. Chicago at the end of that one song, and they would never play it on the radio. I was always so disappointed. Or like "Hey Jude," they'd always cut "Hey Jude" short, and so. Okay, Brix says so. Shaforan says, "Wow, it's amazing." Brix Marino, I've had a lot of haters before now. There's not much anymore. And I've been receiving compliments about my singing. Thanks to your channel, Chuck. I definitely do not regret subscribing to you. Thanks, Brix. I'm so pleased to hear that. I'm so pleased. Someone else just sent me a message today saying that they were 62 years old and they found my channel. They started doing the exercises and she got better, and she had friends telling her that she was better, and so it's very gratifying. MCoS. Hi, Chuck. I'm always pitchy at the call in, but when I call you in hello of Adele, call is high and you is low. Could you give me any tips? Thank you very much. The word call if you say it in slow motion, call, is a very hard vowel to sing. Is about as open as you can get, and in some cases, actually, it is more open. In terms of, let me see. Yeah, it's actually more open than If you said you can feel the tongue on moves up towards the hard palate, so there's less exposure to the hard palate, and there's more exposure to the hard palate than on and it's hard to do that up high. So let me suggest and that you instead of saying ka, you take the ah and narrow it to and see what happens. Ah to ka, call. So when you're singing the word call, oh, call, and you know when you're singing call, you don't really sing the L, do you? Maybe just a hint of that to make it sound like you're singing call, but you don't really sing through the L. Call. So it's just call, and it's a lot easier to do the than it is to do the ah that high. Give that a try. Another way of doing it is like you're from Brooklyn. Cool, cool. So you could move your lips towards cool. So you can see that that my lips again are helping me in that particular vowel. You know, I don't think you have to do that forever, but at first it's great training wheels to give you a little bit of help. Yeah. Okay. Zizo Zach. Hey, Zizo. Hi, Chuck. I'm Zena. Oh, Zena. Hey, Zena. I'm sorry I don't recognize Zizo right yet. I probably will pretty soon. I'm Zena, new member Singers and Band. Could you tell me again at what time we'll start the Green Room tomorrow? It's at 12 noon New York City time, so Eastern Daylight Time, 12 noon Eastern Daylight Time. And I look forward to seeing you there, Zena. I think that's going to be fun. Marty says it is cold. 4 inches of fresh snow last night. Winter wonderland. But Marty, it's springtime now. Last week, wasn't it? The first day of spring and Thursday or something. You probably get snow in June. I know you do. Did I tell you my brother used to live in Calgary? He was on a ranch outside of Calgary. He wasn't in Calgary, but he was close to Calgary. And we visited him there. I went fishing on the Bow River. It was fun. I loved it. Megatron Man. I strained my vocal cords. Should I still join this course? Megatron, have you been to a doctor? And when you say you've strained them, do you have any vocal damage on your, in other words, do you have a nodule or nodules? Or is there a hemorrhage on your vocal cords? And did you see the ENT doctor and did they see anything? Let me know that, okay? Sure, you can join, but if I have a student who has had surgery or has had nodules or has nodules or something like that, then they are different exercises. If they're post surgery or if there are, I would be uncomfortable if there was existing damage. Now, if everything's okay and it's all clear now for you to vocalize, absolutely yes. Lord Raiden, hi, and thank you, Lord Raiden. Mr. Rob01, by the way, voice sound, no warble. As we're now in isolation, seems a good opportunity as plants or time on hands. Not exactly sure what that message means, but it's interesting. As we're now in isolation, seems a good opportunity as plants, time on hands. So, kind of the gist of what I'm getting from that comment is, we are with so much isolation. It's a great time to focus in on singing and getting our voices in shape and doing some online, courses and things like that. It's a perfect time. There's a little bit of extra time here. All right, so I just lost my place. Okay, here we go. If it's okay with you, I'd like to hear your opinion about a great new singer. His name is Dimash. I think he can C8C. He might be able to. I don't know if that's even on the piano, is it? Um, yeah. Um, I think he's an amazing singer. I think he's an amazing singer that can do just about anything he wants. I've heard him sing, from chest to the middle, through the bridge, to head voice, into superhead, into whistle, back down again. I've heard him sing like a girl and then sing like a boy, and I mean, he could just do anything with his voice. I think he's an amazing singer. I think he's I th I don't necessarily like watching him because I think he's too self-aware. I get lost in more. I feel like he's more show about here's what I can do with my voice than he is about feeling and emotion of the song. But that's only a limited time with watching his videos. It's usually when someone says, "Would you go watch this video and tell me what you think?" So I'm probably not getting the full picture of him as a singer, and I'm sure he's a fine person and everything else. But so that's just my kind of my little bit of a bias coming out, Zena. But yeah, he's amazing. I guess I missed that first part when you were, because there's Megatron Man's. Yeah, let me know, Megatron Man, on your chords. Well, thanks, Lord Raiden. I appreciate that. Again, Brandon, nice to have you here at MCoS. I can do all exercises, slides, lip trills, etc. But when I sing the song's language, some vowels makes it difficult. Could you give exercises that combine vowels and mixed voice? Vowels and mixed voice. Yeah. Here's the thing, MCoS. This is probably the best exercise right here. So MCoS, if you're a female, and I'm sorry I can't tell from your handle, if you're a guy, I would say do this. Ooh, oh, ah, with vibrato, and make sure that you're staying in your mix. I noticed I didn't say ooh, ah. I didn't open it up. I kept the O and the ah right where the ooh established my voice. Ooh. That way I'm staying in my mix. If I did it up a couple, I'd be staying in head voice. Ooh. Well, I could do even better, bring that mix down, or bring it down into mix. Now, ladies, it'd be the same thing for you. Now, if I said, open it up too wide, it'll break, it'll crack. That's a great exercise to help you practice staying in your mix or in your head voice with a vowel change. Okay? Can you give an example of head voice versus falsetto? Yeah. And what is the main difference? And how can you tell as a singer when you're in falsetto versus head voice? Shafforan, it's a little bit different for us guys versus girls. But falsetto's not different, but the sound is different. So for girls, they can sing up high in falsetto, and it's harder to tell whether they're in falsetto or head voice. So let me talk about condition. The vocal cord is different with head voice versus falsetto. If I were looking at you, looking at your neck, and I was looking at like this direction right here, the vocal cords in slow motion from one end from the front end to the back end would be like this in slow motion. And this would be more of a head voice kind of configuration. And notice I'm not deep into it like I would be maybe in chest voice. In head voice, I'd be up here. In falsetto, so I'd be singing, ah, oh. Now it's just the outer upper edge of the chord structure in falsetto that's coming together. Whereas in head voice, ah, I've got muscle. The muscle is engaged in the head voice. Ah, oh. So now I'm in falsetto, and it's just the outer layer, the mucosal layer of the vocal folds coming together to create that falsetto. There's a lot more air escaping, and the thyroid arytenoid muscle is disengaged in falsetto. It's not participating, and so the in head voice, the thyroid arytenoid, the muscle in the vocal cord, stays involved, stays engaged, stays participating in the production of the sound, of the tone, of the vibration. In falsetto, it disengages, and that's why. So when you're in falsetto, without that muscle and without the muscle in the vocal cord, you have to kind of break back into chest. So if you want to check yourself, wherever you're at, sing it. If you can't blend back into your chest, well, it's likely you're in falsetto. But if I'm in head voice, it blends into the chest. Why? Because the muscle of the vocal cord was always engaged. It was always participating in the tone production. In falsetto, if the muscle's not engaged, it has to re-engage to get into chest voice. Okay? That's that's true with men and women. It's the same. It might be different in terms of the pitch. I mean, how low. Like for us guys, we get in the chest like by the time we're at the A flat. I mean, we get in the chest sooner than the ladies can get in the chest. Most of our voice is chest, most of their voice is head voice. Okay, so Shafforan. So Shafforan, S-H, I don't know how to pronounce Shafforan. I'll just say that. Yeah, look the link below. It'll say, what will it say? Something like, let me see if I can quickly tell you what it will say. Oh, wrong one. Okay. It'll say something like CR Gilmore L Pages .co Singers Impact Video landing page. Okay, Singers Impact Video landing page. Look for that in the link in the description below. Click on that, and that'll take you to information and place to sign up for it and so forth. Angela, says the way you're describing the exercises remind me of why it's beneficial to practice a piano or whatever instrument piece. Muscle memory. That's so true, Angela. It really is. You know, that's part of the challenge of singing, is we have, especially if we've been singing a while but singing wrong, is that we've got that muscle memory, and we got to let go of it, an old way of doing it, and accept a new way of doing it. And that's hard. It's hard. Okay, so Yep, thanks, Angela. That's great. Mr. Rob01, hi Chuck, you skipped my comment. Oh, sorry. Of 823, as a classical singer, tenor, do you think you could benefit from impact? Just would like one RO tone, two tones to top C, mature student voice sound. Let me see if I can interpret that, Mr. Rob01. As a classical singer, just get my comment. As a classical singer, tenor, do you think I could benefit? Do you think could benefit from impact? Yes, to that question. Just would like one or two tones. Oh, to top to C. Okay, gotcha. Um, well, listen, Mr. Rob01, you're an experienced singer, and you need two more tones, or you need two more pitches, two more whole steps, to the or maybe you're on the B flat B and then you're at the C. You should be able to get a lot more than that. Well, when I say a lot more, if you're a tenor, you should be able to vocalize up to the E flat. I can vocalize to the E flat, and I'm a bass. I've added over an octave in my range. Your challenge, Mr. Rob01, is that you're pulling chest a little bit. And so what you've got to focus in on is E, F, F sharp, because that is affecting your A, B flat, and B. That's where you start to crack, because you're carrying too much weight through the first bridge. And so it's got to unload by the time you get to that B, the B flat. You've got to unload, it's got to be gone. So you have to unload that chest weight sooner. Now, that might take a little extra work on your part, whether you have a live lesson with me or whether you have the course. The course will help, but you're talking about what we just mentioned here, muscle memory, and it's a tough one. It's a very challenging thing for a good tenor like you to be able to let go, stop pulling through the lower notes, E, F, F sharp, where you don't feel it much. You don't feel it that much there, but you sure feel it when you get to the B. The A, the B flat, the B, and that's where you have the problems. And that's because of the first bridge. That's your second bridge where you're having your trouble. So the answer is yes, but we're going to probably have to make sure we spend some time together. Can you please show show what all the vowels change to? Not today. I can't. That's a big question. Can you give me one that I can just help you with? That is available inside Singer's Impact. It's under stage number 3, and it's called the Bridge Kit. Some of you have seen it before because you invested in Sing Higher Than Ever before, a standalone course, and that was a bonus. But that information is already inside Singer's Impact. But it's a page or two of stuff, and it's a little more difficult than just to, I'd have to have more exact question. Oh, we're almost out of time. I'm trying to do this in an hour, you guys, so let me just blast through these other ones here. I'm going to answer them. I promise I'm going to stay and answer these questions here. So, Zena, thanks. Could you please write numbers? Is it 12? Yes, it's 12. It's 12 p.m. or 12 noon tomorrow for Singer's Impact, the green room. By the way, sunny and warm today in South Wales, UK. No rain. Hey, Mr. Rob01, I've done my DNA and all of my genetics, well, 90% of it is England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland. That's where all my heritage is. Gilmore, I guess, is a member of the Morrison clan in Scotland. Angela, 12 minutes. Okay. We're getting everybody set up for Singer's Impact tomorrow. But I added 4. Okay. Hey, JC, nice to have you here. Glad you used my comment on your program. Oh, sure. Did you see it? Thank you. And thanks for your comment. I mean, it's just awesome. And I try and save comments as I find them and put them like in a folder where someone reports they've had some success. So thank you, JC. Angela, love Chicago, the band. Yeah, wow. They have quite a longevity, don't they? I mean, they were big when I was in college, many years ago. Hi all, newbie. Hey, Florinda, nice to have you here today. We get snow in all but August here. Where do you live, Florinda? Megatron man, waiting for ENT. Okay. Yeah, get that looked at, Megatron man. You'll feel a lot better, even if it's bad news. You'll feel a lot better knowing exactly what it is. The worst part about a vocal cord injury is not knowing what it is. So go see him as soon as you can. Bricks, I sang on SLS before. I understand why it is so controversial now. Fortunately, I learned to mix a few months ago. Your lessons are so helpful, Chuck. Thanks, Bricks. You're awesome. Thank you. What is SLS, Bricks? So SLS stands for speech level singing. Oh, you guys already answered it. I just need to be quiet. You guys are taking care of us here. Oh, is that just chest voice only? No, speech level singing is, the idea behind speech level singing is that you just refuse to reach. You refuse to reach for the high notes. And so rather than straining and reaching and engaging outer muscles to try and hit the high stuff, you sing it with the larynx at the level of where you speak, at speech level. So that if I'm going up, so the larynx is staying down. But if I, and that's basic, in a very basic statement, that's the whole idea behind speech level singing, is that we approach singing as with the same condition, fundamentally the same condition as when we speak. So everything's natural. We don't strain. We don't, we don't tighten our voices when we talk. It's. I did a video on this inside my YouTube channel, and I think it says something like, "Do we really sing like we talk?" Something like that. And it's a pretty good explanation of they're different. Obviously, they're different, but the concept is that we sing naturally, easily, comfortably, like we do when we speak, whether it's high or low, whether it's loud or soft, whether it's rock or whether it's jazz, or all of these things enable us to sing healthily, so we don't have vocal damage, so that we sound natural, we sound like ourselves, we have strength and power in all of our range, especially in that middle area, which is the bridge. Okay, so let me see. Thank you for the answer on falsetto. You bet. That was a great demonstration of vowel changes and mix. Thanks, Brandon. I want to develop a raspy voice because of the style I sing. Do you think doing exercises with fry is unhealthy? So Stravos, the fry is useful, especially with a younger student, particularly younger female students, where the vocal cords aren't able to come together firm, all the way they don't adduct completely. There's a little opening at the anterior or the posterior aspect of the chord structure, and so the fry is very useful to help bring those chords together and close them. Most of my lessons are how to get raspiness out of the voice because the voice has been abused, and so I don't teach students to be raspy. I don't teach them to sound a certain way. I try and teach them to sound like they sound naturally, and to do it healthily, so that you have a long career for singing. So that being said, I don't think that a vocal fry is going to hurt your voice if it's done in a way that you're not, as long as you're able to mix and not pull or not reach, then I think that there's a way to do it. Now, that I'm not talking about scream, and I'm not talking about using the false chords. I'm just talking about that. So, a little cry in the voice. I don't think you're going to damage it, but I do think you can engage more muscle than you want, and in the end, that may limit you as a singer. Okay, thank you for answer on head and falsetto. You bet. How can you slow down vibrato? So, Florinda, if your vibrato's fast, and again, this is inside one of the lessons inside Singer's Impact. I have a whole course on vibrato. But what you want to do is stop it. Stop the vibrato completely, and then reintroduce it in a controlled fashion. So let's just say that it's going too fast. I can't do it up that. Not very good at demonstrating that. But what you want to do is, if your natural vibrato, you lose control of it, it doesn't seem to be the right pace, try and create a flat tone. Can you do it without any vibrato at all? Then, once you're able to control no vibrato, then gradually introduce vibrato into your voice. And, so there are several exercises that you could use. A simple exercise would just be, I'm going to do a little bit lower. Now, at any point, if it takes off and it's too fast, stop. Reestablish your control. Start with no vibrato, and then gradually. You may find that you have to do. I don't know if I have another student here. They were scheduled to. They may be coming. You may find that you have to do it slowly for a while to exert control over that alternating pitch, okay? So if when you get faster and faster you lose control and it just takes off by itself, you got to come back, exert control on it, do it slowly and in control, and then go a little bit faster, in control, a little bit faster, in control, and then when you get into that cycling, sorry, I don't think anybody's here, but when you get into that cycle, 6 to 8 cycles per second, then that's where you want to maintain the slower cycle. If it just starts to take off by itself, you've got to go back and stop it and reintroduce it slowly, over and over. And then you get to the point where you say, start and stop it. Start it and stop it, and stay in control the whole time. Okay, Brick says, Sean, it's hard to explain. Okay, let me see. Which one was, SLS, maybe. Wow, okay. Gosh, you guys. Zena says, is there SLS lessons or explanations in Singer's Impact? Everything I teach, Zena is based on Seth Riggs and his speech level singing technique. So the answer is yes. Stravos, can you structure a tyglical vocal workout for 1 hour? How we should structure our workouts? Give us an example. Can you structure is an ideal vocal workout? Yeah, I could probably do something like that sometime. That might be a fun thing to do. I've actually did something like that for myself, maybe I can share that sometime because I've got some ideas on that. Hey, Maurizio. Sorry, nice to have you. It says, sorry, I forgot. Put my name. Express my gratitude. Thank you, Maurizio. Nice to have you here today. Hey, Ink. Nice to have you here. How many times a day should I do the high larynx, pull chest, vocal exercises? If you did them once in the morning and once at night, boy, you're going to have those down really well. And they're not long, like maybe 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night. More importantly than how many times or how long is how correct you're doing them. Marty says, bad muscle memory is less important when trying to sing new songs. I'm finding creating better form. Marty, you get the star for the day. That's a great comment, you guys. It's hard to sing songs that we've sung all of our lives with a new approach because we tend to sing it like we've always sung it with that muscle memory. And this is what Marty's talking about. Pick a new song you've never sung before and learn it with this technique that you're learning. And you're going to find that it's going to go better for you. That's perfect, Marty. Thank you. Strava says, what should we do in order to expand our range? What exercises? Stravos, the most important thing is the bridge. If you get the bridge so that there's no reaching, there's no straining, and that's the E, F, F sharp for guys, and for girls it's the A, B flat, B, and C. In the case of the tenor I was talking to a second ago, that's his second bridge. And the reason why he's having trouble there is because of E, F, F sharp. He's still carrying too much tension, too much weight there. So, Stravos, it's got to be a perfect E, F, F sharp, and then you're going to find your range is just going to, you're going to be surprised how your range increases when you get those 3-4 notes, E, F, F sharp, G area down really well. That is no reaching, no straining, no pull chest, just a really good mixed voice there. Do you think breathing for singing is overrated? Should we focus on other things? Stravos, it is overrated unless you breathe like this. Unless if your chest is heaving up and down, you probably need to spend some time on it. But if you're basically singing from the low breath with the diaphragm dropping and filling the lungs up with air with that low breath, and then gradually pulling your tummy in as you use the air, very little more is needed, in my opinion. Now, there are many people who start and end with breathing. It's all about breathing. Don't think it is. I think it is overrated, Stravos. I agree. MCoS MCoS says, if class starts at 9 o'clock, could members that are sleeping already then, because they live in another continent 8 hours away, still see the class? Yes, I will be recording. In Singer's Impact, I record everything, and it's in the archive. So for the month, it's in the current month section, and then the next month, the new one takes the place, the old one goes into archives, and you can go into archives and watch it there. So it will be recorded and available for you to watch. Rob Zero, after earlier comments, will be joining. So I'll see you there. Great stuff. Hey, awesome. Cheers, Rob. Very nice to meet you. And we'll have to talk more about whales. MCoS says, and teacher I told me vocal fry helps you connect the inner edges of the vocal cords. But then I practice vocal fry all the time. Do you agree? I don't know, MCoS, because you're this is one of the problems with not understanding what an exercise is meant to do. If your vocal type is pulled chest, high larynx, I see no reason for you to use a vocal fry. If you have a light chest, no chest, and you have a hard time and it's very breathy and you can't be heard and it's just a lot of air escaping, then the vocal fry may be of help to you. Stravos, how much does cost a Skype lesson with you? You're a great teacher. Stravos, my 30 minutes is $75, and I'm trying to think of where you could, well, you could, in the description below also, there's a place there where you can schedule a Skype lesson. And there'll be a calendar. It's in your time zone, but it shows when I'm available in your time zone. And so that would be awesome. Love to do that. Strava said an opera singer told me that the belly should not come in. What a mess. Yeah, you know, I mean, I don't think you should jerk it in, Stravos, necessarily, unless you're singing a high note. And I think it's okay to have the tummy come in a little bit. But, yeah, so I think it has to, I mean, just using your stomach normally, it's going to, when you fill it up with air, it's going to come back in a little bit. Yeah, so if I'm, let me see here. Hold on a second. I can't see. Let me move this chat box out of the way. So if I'm loading up with air, I'm going to relax and let my tummy drop, and that pulls air in. So that's how I do it. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. Awesome questions. Great to see you all. So many of you already are in Singers Impact, come and join us, and we'll have a good time, and we'll support each other and really help. Oh, let me see. Why does some voice flip into falsetto at the break, and others can get through it by pulling chest? I think some people just do it really, really hard. They just pull real hard and it doesn't break. And also probably because the voice isn't as deep. Tenors can do that easier than basses. Thanks. I'll see you, Zenas, tomorrow. And thanks, everybody. This is Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live, number 175. You can sing higher with beauty, confidence, and power. I'll see you inside the next video. Now I have to turn this off. Take care.